Namaskaram. Welcome to Mana TV Telangana channel. Yesterday we discussed about the continuous comprehensive evaluation. So, what are the strategies are required? Why the continuous comprehensive evaluation CCE is introduced? What are the things influence to shift from knowledge based questions to conceptual clarity based questions? So, we understand those concepts. Now, we are going to discuss about the various assessments in the CCE. There are two types of assessment, you know that one is a formative assessment, other one is a summative assessment. Every academic year, we are going to conduct 4 formative assessments. The first formative assessment in the month of June and July. So, there is no stipulated time to conduct the examination in a particular date of June or July. Between June and July, the teacher can take it as with a liberty, and he can conduct the examination or the tool by using tools throughout the period. So, it is a continuous evaluation, am I correct? So, a formative assessment, the first formative assessment will be in the month of June and July, and the second one will be in the month of end of August and September. The first summative assessment in the month of October, and the third formative assessment in the month of November and December, and the fourth summative assessment in the month of January and February, and the summative 2, the last assessment will be in the month of March. In this according to this schedule, we have to conduct the assessments, clear. So, now what is formative assessment? It is a very important. A formative assessment is an assessment conducting during the process of teaching. It is through observation of student responses, student engagement, student notebooks, assignments and other written works. You can understand the difference between a unit test which is conducted previously. Previously, we conducted examination for just 25 marks, and we will select 1 or 2 units, and from that we will give the some questions, and we will ask the questions based on knowledge based questions and understanding based questions. So, mechanically children by heart those questions and reproduce the same questions in the examination, you will get the marks. It is not a proper assessment, but present formative assessment we are observing the student response, how the children has a good oral response, written response and his reflections in the classroom transaction. How the children is engaged in the classroom, we will observe in the classroom response through activities, through projects, we will observe the engagement of the student in the classroom practices, and we will observe the student notebooks. So, means how the children is maintaining the notebook, how he is writing, what are the mistakes he did it, and how best he is writing the things in the notebook. In the mathematics especially, we are observing think and discuss questions and try these questions and assignment of course as exercise questions, clear, and we will give an assignment like a folded technique or activity or something as an assignment, and other written works means here we will give some projects on that. All these we will conduct in a formal way. So, the children does not know that we are assessing the children, just we are giving some work to the children. So, the children has a hands on experience and will participate freely without any kind of burden or stress. So, in this free environment, free educational environment, the children can perform very well. This is the advantage of the formative assessment. Okay. And in a formative assessment will be conducted by the teacher during instruction. It is a very important note. So, here clearly we are mentioning that the formative assessment will be conducted by the teacher during instruction, means here. So, there is no particular period for conducting the formative assessment. When he is taking class, in the class only he has to conduct the examination with the 1 question, 2 questions, 3 questions according to the availability of the time, and it should not be announced as a test. Just give the question, ask the children to write the answers, let them free and observe it carefully whether the children are writing the answers without any kind of fear. All this can be considered. The teacher observes and records the children progress and as well as learning gaps. So, the just you should not stick on board or should not stick on the dais, he has to move throughout the class, he has to observe the children performance, and he has to note the progress and where the children are doing mistakes, and he has to note down those learning gaps. This is a very important task to the children. Where formative assessment is an ongoing assessment throughout the unit. The purpose is to improve the instruction and provide feedback to the student. Formative assessment a check for understanding, and formative assessment help us to distinguish between teaching and learning. Maybe understand these 3 points. The first one is it is an ongoing process. It will not be fixed in a particular period. Throughout academic year, the teacher has to observe it, and throughout the unit lesson transaction, the teacher has to observe, assess the children, and you has to note down the feedback of the children. Okay. And the second one is a formative assessment is a check for understanding. So, he has to check the understanding level of the children by various activities. Just now I said by taking folding technique, by observing writing skills, and of course, for drawing skills and analyzing skills, all these will be observed by asking different questions, by posing some questions, by giving questions, written questions, all these will be given to the children, and the teacher has to assess the understanding levels of the children. And the third one, the formative assessment helps us distinguish between teaching and learning. A teacher is always a learner, and the children is always a learner also. So, the teaching is totally different. It should not be a teacher centered education, it should be a learner centered education. Learner means child centered education. The teacher just give the idea to the children will develop the concept and incorporate in the learning process. Maybe you understand that. This is the difference between a teaching and learning. So, here a teacher will be a supporter, he is a facilitator for the learning environment. The children can learn these concepts in a very good manner, free environment. So, this is the difference between the teaching and a learning. So, that every teacher should understand this concept. Okay, now, some of the main features of the formative assessment. It is a diagnostic and remedial, and in the formal, of course, in the form of oral, written and performance. This is the most important. He has to diagnose the children, where the children is doing mistakes, where he is good, and what are the strengths and what are the weak points for the children. So, he has to identify those things, he has to diagnose. Finally, he will give the remedial teaching for the children. So, the remedial teaching is the most important. So, you have to say that what is the important factor in the formative assessment is remedial teaching. Without remedial teaching, there is no meaning of formative assessment. And the second one, make the provision for effective feedback. So, here we should not give as vague questions. So, it is open ended questions. Some children may explain totally, some children may explain some extent, and some children may not express it. Like you have that feedback should be effective. So, how much the children is understand, how he is expressing, what are the reflections, whether he is good at mathematical language. So, like the teacher has to take the effective feedback, and enables teachers to adjust teaching to take account of the results of the assessment. This is the most important. So, here the teacher should have the accountability for assessment, because we are giving grading. For example, 81 to 90 we will grade as 9 grade points, means if the children got 81, so you will get 9 grade points, 85 you will get 9 points, 90 also will get a 9 grade points, means here even some small change also there is nothing. Means if, for example, if a teacher gave 9 grade points, but actual standard is less than 81, means here it is a meaningless. The teacher has to take the accountability for this. Means once you give the grade, so whenever you assess or wherever you assess, whomever assess, so the grade point should be accurate. So, this is the most important. The accountability of the results of the assessment should be very important, and recognize the need for students to be able to assess themselves and understand how to improve. So, here the children is in position to self evaluate, take an introspection about himself. So, I am good at this particular area, I am not good at this particular area, how to improve it, how best I am going to perform it. Even the children also can perform all these things. This is the most important. These are the main features of formative assessment, and we have to continue for some more. Means builds on students' prior knowledge and experience in designing what is taught. This is the most important, that is a prerequisite, simply we call it as a prerequisites. Before going to take a lesson, the teacher has to explain the notion of the chapter, means how it is connected to the daily life situation and what is the importance of this chapter, and what are the prerequisites are required for transacting this class. This is much more important for the teacher. At the same time, the children should know what are the pre-knowledge is required, prerequisites are required, how you get experience, whether he is good at prerequisites. So, for that reason we are conducting the baseline test before conducting the formative assessment, first formative assessment. Through the baseline assessment, baseline test, the teacher as well as the children can understand what is his knowledge, how much he is going to improve, what kind of prior knowledge is required, and what are the experience in designing in the classroom transaction. So, he has to understand. And the next one is encourage students to understand the criteria that will be used to judge their work. So, you have to always encourage the children, that is very important, because each children good at a particular area. Some children good at drawing skills, some children are good at reasoning skills, some children are good at creating skills. So, so all the children may not be good at all the areas. So, where the children is good, we have to encourage the children. So, that encouragement will be given to boost the children to learn all the remaining concepts also. I will give a small example to you. So, if a children good at mathematics, he is good at in rest of the subjects, am I correct? Means so when he is good at mathematics is the queen of all the subjects and it is connected to the rest of the subjects also. When he is good, so he means mathematics based on a particular objective, that is speed and accuracy. So, here it should be accurate, there should be analytical. So, there is a move from abstractism to constructism. So, that is a very important. So, you will give the concrete examples to that. So, when abstract concepts will be converted into concrete, then the children is in position to demand the situations, am I correct? So, this is the most important. So, you have to encourage the children. This is possible in the formative assessment, because he is observing every day the children, and he has to encourage the children, okay, you are doing well. So, some more interest is required, some more hard work is required. So, refers the other books, previous books. So, we should not means here. So, I am studying 9th class textbook means it does not mean that he has only 9th class textbook. So, he has 6th, 7th and 8th also. The children has to refer. So, when the chapter is started, in which standard it started. So, how it is developed. The children and the teacher should know all these things, then the children will get a good conceptual clarity. When it comes to the last one, of course, offers an opportunity to students to improve their work after feedback. So, every time the teacher has to give the feedback, then the children will improve their learning skills. So, and we have to provide such an opportunity. Okay. And of course, it helps the students to support their peers. Means here it is not a group individual activity, there is a one kind of strategy, you call it as a group activity also. The children should share the knowledge in a particular group. Those are nothing but their peer group. So, their coordination will come set, and a constructive approach will, a cognitive domain will be developed in that particular area. So, that helping the students each other, this is very important. And the last one, of course, is a formative assessment is an assessment for learning and assessment as learning. Very important statement is, it is a formative assessment is assessment for learning and assessment as learning. So, for learning and as learning, this is the most important, means you have to assess the learning process, and assessment should be in a learning stage. So, this once again I am repeating that a formative assessment is assessment for learning and assessment as learning, means is learning or for learning and as learning. Clear? Okay. So, now coming to the next one, summative assessment. So, summative assessment takes place after a period of instruction and requires making a judgment about the learning that has occurred. It is to take place at the end of the term semester of school year. Of course, generally we do not have any semester system, it is a basic core of CCE. So, we have two summative assessments only. So, in the summative 2, the total syllabus will be covered. So, summative assessment will be conducted after 2 formative assessments. So, means nearly 50% of the syllabus will be covered. We will test the children how far we understand the concepts which are given in the those 7 units or 6 units, whatever it may be of the syllabus of the curriculum. Clear? Okay. Now, coming to that, special learning outcomes and standards are references points, and grade levels may be the benchmarks for the reporting. This is the assessment of learning. Here we are giving, instead of marks, we will give the grades. So, by grade means here some particular benchmark will be given for that. So, if the children lies between 91 to 100, the points are 10. If lies between 81 to 90, the points will be, of course, grade points will be 8, like so benchmarks will be given. And summative assessment measures the student competency. It gauges the students progress towards the course or grade level goals and benchmarking also. So, how far the children understand the concept here. So, especially on the summative assessment, we fixed a pattern. So, that pattern will be based on 2 areas. One is called academic standards, other one is called the nature of questions. Means here the nature of question means well, maybe it is a short answer questions, very short answer question, or long answer type questions, and of course, last one is a multiple choice questions. So, generally we will give this in multiple choice questions. Generally we will award half mark for it. In the long answer type question, we will award for 4 marks, and short answers question we will award for 2 marks, and of course, very short answer 1 mark. So, here this is the nature of question, and of course, nearly 50% of the question should be easier, and 30% will be average, and 15% of the questions will be little bit of logical thinking. So, generally, so the paper should be answered by every children up to 50%. So, who got 91 to 100 means they have very good reasoning skills. Okay. And it also observes the benchmark, how far the children, how many children are good at a particular concept. So, we can assess through a summative assessment. Okay. Now, this is the most important, these questions will come in the examination, the techniques and tools for the formative assessment. The children learning process is continuously checked and monitored through formative assessment. Different kinds of tools and techniques will be used to observe and record the different types of behavior. Okay. So, here we will observe the formative assessment through tools. We have 4 tools. Especially in mathematics, we have 4 tools, that is first one is creating questions or generating questions, and the second one is writing skills, and the third one is a project, and of course, the fourth one is a paper pencil test. By using these 4 tools, we will observe the children performance, okay, and some techniques will be there. Techniques means here in the project how the children is performing, what is the presentation skills, what is analytical skills we will observe, and what is coordination with the children, how far the children can manage the things, what is how he maintain and what is classroom management. So, all these things will be observed in that particular areas. So, here we will observe the children participation and reflection. So, daily observation and oral work, the questions and answers, reading aloud, participation in group work, and discussion of questions, exercise given in the lesson, and end of the lesson group discussion like. So, we will give it. So, it is a very important, recently we changed this reflections for other subjects. In mathematics, it is given as creating questions. So, very important, creating questions will be very important. So, creating questions is important task for the children. So, this is the first tool to test the mathematics. The first tool will be here, creating means here it is not the collecting of questions from the textbook or any available books in the market. The children can create, can generate the questions by using his knowledge. Okay. It may be exactly correct. Okay. So, the children can do some mistakes. So, ask them to write by own without copying from other books. Okay. So, when he is able to write the question means that he understands it. Here the very important note means no need to write the solution. It is very clear, just he has to write the questions only. Okay. So, we will award the marks here. For example, the children wrote 5 questions. Out of 5 questions, all questions are correct without no mistake. So, then we can award 5 marks for the children. Okay. And of course, out of 5, 4 are correct and 1 is wrong completely. So, you can give it 4, clear, and of course, 3 are correct, we can give 3 for it. So, here for each unit the children has to write 5 questions. For example, there are 3 units. So, he has to write 15 questions. Now, check it, out of 15 questions how many questions, more than 80% questions are correct, then the teacher can give 5 marks to him. Up to 60 to 70 you can give 4 according to give that. Here there is no restriction. So, for the teacher, so you have to give the award these marks only. So, finally, the teacher has to award 5 marks for it, clear. And the second one is a written test. Of course, a written test means here they when observe written works means is very clear. The children has to maintain 2 books, one book for formative assessment and a second book for a class work. In the formative assessment book, the children has to write the creating questions or generating questions first. A second one is written work. A written work means it is very clear, the think and discuss questions, try these questions and exercise questions. He has to write the answer, because the teacher will not explain the answer for these questions. So, just to give the idea, the children will write the answer and solution for it, means he is writing the answer his own. So, you have to award marks for him. For that we will consider it as a tool and it will consider as a written works, we will award 5 marks for it. Previously we gave 10, 10, 10, 20 like. Now, it is recently we conducted, and so it is modified in the syllabus also, that is 5 marks for constructing generative questions and 5 marks for written works and 5 marks for projects. And okay. So, here and the project and it is a common thing, just what I am showing in the slide, it is a common thing for all subjects, but mathematics it is a projects, only purely project. Of 2 kinds of projects, you know that practical projects is there, of course, analytic projects is there, like different kinds of projects is there. I will give a small idea to that. What is a project and project for it? For example, if you take the statistics chapter, there is you want to find the mean, you want to find the median, or do you want to find a mode. For example, you want to find a mode of a mode of the size of a chapel for a classroom. The children has to collect the leg size of foot size, especially a foot size of all the class. Okay. And he has to identify what, for example, it is 8, size number 8. So, size number 8 is more than all rest of the sizes, means mode of that, means here you can come to that. For example, it is a 9th class children. So, in general 9th class children foot size will be 8, like he has analyzed it. So, for example, you want to, so if any 9th class children want to purchase a shoe or chappals, so no need to search for it. So, simply you can ask the first for a size 8 chappals, you can check it. Of course, some exceptional cases means some foot size may be different, but in general maybe you understand now the ready-made dresses are, you know, some size 34, 36, 30, how that it is based on this project only. So, they will observe these the children or the persons at a particular age or particular height, what are the measurements, am I correct? So, the project should be useful in the daily life situation. So, very important, it is no need of taking support of computers or instruction, of course, or internet or anything here. The project should be concerned to the chapter. This is a very important. Some projects are suggested projects are given in the textbook also, they can perform the same project. Here the total class will be taken as the same project, but the specimen should be different. Maybe you understand, the specimen should be different, means here for example, the same one, the mode of the foot size you want to find for a class, means one children can take the 9th class as a specimen and other children can take 10th class and other children will take as a 6th class, and if of course the specimen series is very less, then you can they can divide into boys and girls, or they can divide it into some particular group as for their specimen. So, this is very each children should do with a specific specimen, a different specimen. The title of the project may be same, but the specimen should be different. This is the most important in the project. So, he has to write the aim and objective of the project, title of the project, aim and objective of the project, and of course, collection, interpretation, presentation, written presentation, and the last one is simply oral presentation. These are the steps. For they can conduct this project for 10 marks. If they did correct, So, and everything is good, then you can give from 7 to 10, means 7 to 10 means here if the if you present the project, we have to give at least 7 marks, and of course, according to the performance you can give the up to 10 marks. So, you have to give the project for 10 marks, but you have to post for 5 marks. Clear? This is a very important. You can conduct the project for 10 marks and you have to post for 5 marks. This is the most important instruction. Clear? And the slip test. And the slip test means here, okay, this will be call it as a paper pencil test also, means here every day the teacher has to assess the children, and slip test means do not feel it as a it's a old wine in a new bottle, which is a unit test as converted as a slip test. It is not exactly meaning for it. So, the teacher can conduct examination for 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 marks, of course 4 marks, not 3 marks or 4 marks, or like 1 question, 2 question, 3 question as their availability of time, but finally he has to assess for 20 marks, okay, and he has to reduce to 5 marks, he has to post for 5 marks. For example, he assess for 20 marks and he has to calculate for 5 marks. And a very important note is, so once again I am repeating that. So, this creating question 5 marks the first tool, written skills of written works 5 marks is the second tool, projects is 5 marks third tool, and slip test or paper pencil test is 5 marks, totally 20 marks. For each formative assessment will be conducted for 20 marks. Here you should not give any of course round up for that. For example, the children got 4.2 in written works and projects 4.8, do not of course round up that value, add all this 4 and finally you will get, for example, we got 17.6, then you can round it as first as 18. So, do not round up for each and every one. So, post the same marks for the all the 4 tools, add those, finally if it is in decimal you have to round it off to nearest integer value. Clear? This is a very important, because this will help you not only for this examination, you may be in a couple of days you will be a teacher in the Gurukulas. So, you have to maintain the same system in your schools also, that is a very important. So, and do not post the marks in the progress report. So, you have to just there are 3 kinds of registers there, we will discuss those registers also. The first one is children register, means for each children you have to maintain one, and the second one is subject wise register, and the third one is totally cumulative, of course total school record. So, here just observe the children how he is performing all this in the personal progress report. Then what you have to do, do not post the tool marks, just keep it in your record, and finally you have to post how many marks you got, 20 out of 20, and should not post any marks, you have to give the grade for it. Okay. So, maybe it is very clear, for example, you got 17 out of 20, means here you have to raise to for 100, 17 FISA, 17 FISA 85, means here it lies between 81 to 100, means the children will get 8 grade points. Clear? So, like you have to observe the grades, you have to give the grades for it. So, and I will discuss the what are the grades A, B, C, D and E. So, you can I will discuss those grades also. You have to post the grades only, do not give the any kind of marks on the progress report. This is the most important. So, you have to conduct 4 formative assessments and by using 4 tools. This is a very important, and once again I am repeating the 4 tools. It is creating questions or generating questions is the first tool. Second one is writing skills or written works, and the third one is projects, and the fourth one is slip test or paper pencil test. Each will be conducted for even 10 or 20 as your wish, but you have to post for only 5 marks. Finally, it should be calculated, it should be assessed up for 20 marks. Is it clear? Okay. Now, come to the next one is okay. In the written works, already I said correction of notebooks, homeworks, assignments, all this, and very important thing is So, when you are going to correct the answers, the teacher has to take remedial things here. When the children make a mistake, you have to round it and you have to say what is the correct answer for it. Okay. And here some notebooks, classwork and homework, and of course, children completion of exercise given at the end of the unit. A very important note here, the children of course has to do the exercise questions. The teacher just give the idea for it, clear, and maybe you understand that in unit plan only we divide the periods for classroom transaction and for explanation of the unit, which are exercises which are given in the units. This is very important, clear. Okay. And now coming to the summative assessment, you know that. So, in summative assessment should be based on the written and oral tests, of course, completely especially in our Telangana state, what we adopted CCE is totally written work only. So, we will conduct examination for 40 marks out of 40 marks for paper 1 and 40 marks for paper 2. A very important note here, up to 6th to 8th, 6th to 8th means here. So, we will conduct for 80 marks, we will conduct the summative assessment for 80 marks and the 20 marks will be taken from the average marks of the formative assessments, means here 80 plus 20 totally it is 100. Once again I am repeating here, for 6th to 8th classes we will conduct for 80 marks and we will take the remaining 20 from the average of 4 formative assessment. Finally, 100 we will give the grades for it. Okay. And for 9th and 10th class children, we will conduct the summative assessment for 40 and 40. We have 2 papers in maths, we have 2 papers, paper 1 for 40, paper 2 for 40. And a very important note here, it is we will conduct the examination for these 40 marks, the duration is 2 hours 45 minutes. So, here the first 15 minutes is meant for reading the total question paper, and this is the most important. The first 15 minutes is meant for the reading the question paper and the remaining 2.5 hours will be given for the writing examination, and there is no separate paper for this, and the part B will be given it. You have part A and part B in the 9th and 10th class papers, of course, even 6th to 8th also. So, part A consists of 35 marks and part B will for 5 marks. In part A, you have 3 kinds of questions, that is 1 mark question, 2 marks question and 4 marks question. Question number 1 to question number 7 1 mark question, question number 8 to question number 13 is 2 marks question, question number 14 to question number 17 4 marks questions. From question number 1 to question number 13 there is no choice for it, the children has to write each and every question answer, but question number 14 to question number 17 as a 4 marks questions there is an internal choice. For example, the 14th question 14A or 14B, the children has to write one of it. Okay. So, that is internal choice is given that. This is part A. We have 3 sections, section 1, section 2, section 3. Section 1 is short answer questions which is 1 mark question, section 2 is 2 marks questions, of course, very short answer questions, and section 3 is long answer type questions which are 4 marks questions. Is it clear? Now, coming to the part B, there are 10 objective type questions given which are completely multiple choice questions. No other objective questions will be given in that. No other objective questions means here fill in the blanks, match the following, true or false. Clear, all these kind of questions will not be given in the examination. As a very important, when we are going to prepare the question paper and are conducting a formative assessment, we should not use this filling the blanks, or because we have to train the children in a required manner only. Clear. So, that is a very important. Okay. Now, coming to the written test, the questions must be a qualitative, it is a very important. It should, of course, here quantity is not considered, it should be qualitative, open ended, analytical in nature, drawing conclusions, giving reasons, evaluating and interpreting in nature, they must discriminate children based on their intelligence and creativity, and this is the most important. You understand that the paper is based on two areas, just now I said one is the nature of questions and other one is based on academic standards. So, you know that mathematics has 5 academic standards, one is problem solving, second one is reasoning and proof, third one is mathematical communication, and the fourth one is connections, and fifth one representation and visualization. Clear? So, here we will give the weightage for this academic standards only, there is no weightage for the chapter and there is no weightage for the important chapters. Clear? So, all chapters which are very important. For example, if you take the 10th class, you have the first chapter is real numbers, second chapter is sets, third chapter is polynomials, fourth chapter is pair of linear equation, 2 variables, fifth chapter is quadratic equations, sixth chapter is progressions, seventh chapter is coordinate geometry. All these will be comes in the first paper 1, and the next one is similar triangles as the 8th chapter, 9th chapter is tangents and secants of a circle, 10th chapter is mensuration as combination of solids, of course, that is we will call it as a mensuration, and 11th chapter is trigonometry, and 12th chapter is application of trigonometry, 13th chapter is probability, and 14th chapter is statistics. So, from 8th to 14th chapters will be considered as a paper 2. Clear? So, some of the people may say geometry is a very important. So, I will give maximum questions from the similar triangles and secant and tangents. It is not correct. And of course, some children feels a difficulty in the trigonometry. So, I do not want to give the questions in trigonometry, it is not correct, and sets are very important. So, very easy, the children can score the marks from sets. So, I will give the maximum marks for the sets, it is not the way. So, there is no importance for the chapters, and the importance only will be given as per the given blueprint, we call it as simply as a blueprint. So, blueprint will be based on academic standards. The first academic standard, problem solving, will be given 40% weightage. This is a very important. So, 40% means out of 40, 16 marks will be given to allotted to problem solving. This is a very important. Clear? And the second one is reasoning and proof, it will be given 20%, means 20% of marks will be given for the reasoning and proof academic standard, means 8 marks will be given to that. So, means 14 plus 8, 22 marks will be given these two academic standard, it is a mandatory, there is no possibility to change it. So, clear. So, you should give 40% of problem solving and 20% will be reasoning proof, and remaining 40% will be given for these remaining 3 academic standards, that is mathematical communication, connection and representation visualization. For this they can give 10, 15, 15 or 15, 10, 15. So, it is not necessary, but totally it should be 40. So, for example, if you give it as a for mathematical communication 15%, and for connections 10% and representation visualization 15%. So, totally. So, you can change it according to the mindset of the paper set or the teacher. Clear? So, it can be oscillate, it can be changed, there is no mandatory for representation visualization should be 15% like. So, some areas it is difficult to give the questions based on representation visualization academic standard. For that reason there is a flexibility for the teachers, they can change this order. Clear? So, very important for you can give 40% of weightage for the problem solving and 20% of weightage to the reasoning and proof. For rest of the 40 you can classify as 10, 15, 15 means here we will give 15 means 6 and 4 marks. Finally, it will be 40 marks. This is a very important, and 1 mark questions already I said, 1 mark questions will be 7 and 2 marks questions will be 6 and 4 marks questions will be 4 and half marks questions which is multiple choice questions will be 5, of course 10, 5 marks. So, 1 mark question 7 means 7 marks weightage will be given for the 1 mark questions, 2 marks questions are 6 and 12 marks weightage will be given for the 2 marks questions, and of course 4 marks questions will be 4 means 4 4s are 16 marks will be given for the 4 marks questions, and of course 10 half marks question means 5 marks will be given for the multiple choice questions. This is the distribution of the marks. You have to prepare the blueprint as per the given instructions. Clear? This is very important, and so the questions will not be collected from the textbook. So, you should not take the questions directly from the textbook, it is not correct. So, and it is not acceptable also, you have to collect the questions from the conceptual area only. You should not be beyond the standard, or it should not be out of the syllabus, it should be from the syllabus which is suggested in the textbook only, clear. So, and but you have to mold, you have to convert the question in terms of academic standard. I will give a simple question is if cos theta equal to 1 minus x square plus 1 plus x square, is it possible where mod x is not equal to 1? Justify your answer, means the children has to justify whether it is correct, whether it is wrong, when it is correct, where it is, how it is correct, like he has to justify the answer. It comes under the reasoning and proof, or draw the cumulative curve for the given data, or draw the OSU curve for the given data, means it comes under the representation and visualization, or draw the Venn diagram for the given sets data, means it comes under representation visualization. The length of a rectangle is 3 units more than its breadth. If the area of the rectangle is 48 units, square units, write the mathematical equation for this data, means that the children has to write the total data in terms of mathematical symbols. So, it comes under the mathematical communication, clear. So, our explanation of the formula means here, for example, write the formula for the median of a group of data and explain the terms in the formula, it comes under the communication. The children has to write the formula and he has to explain each and every term of the formula, it comes under the mathematical communication. Or under connection, because the connection will be maybe from one area to other area, clear. Okay. So, means algebra and geometry, this comes under the connection, or algebra, of course mathematics with physics, or mathematics with chemistry, the questions may come from it. So, you can say it, for example, if you want to say a mathematical connection with the geometry and algebra, for example. So, in a right angle triangle, the smallest side is 2003 and the remaining sides are positive integers, then find the perimeter of the right triangle. So, here one is geometry part here, at the same time they should know the importance of that. If the 2003 is a prime number, if he is able to understand that 2003 is a prime number, then only he can do that, means here, and you know the properties of the prime number will be incorporated with the geometry area, of course concept that is called the perimeter of the right triangle. So, it is called a connection. So, one area is connected to other area, that questions comes under the mathematical connections, clear. And the last one is representation visualization, just now I said those things also. Finally, come to the problem solving, means every problem is comes under the problem solving only. Here we are giving the most importance for the procedure. So, how he is doing the solution, that procedure will be awarded for it, it is a very important. So, but so if there is a general doubt, we are giving a most frequently asked FAQs, most frequent asked question is each problem comes under the problem solving, then how you are distinguish these questions as reasoning and proof, communication, connection, represent, very important doubt, frequent asked questions here. If there is the importance given for the procedure, then only we will call it as a simply is comes under the problem solving. For example, if a equal to 1, b equal to 2, c equal to 3, then find the value of 2 power a of 3 power b of 5 power c. For example, this question is given here, only the process given importance, there is no kind of logical thinking or other things will be things. So, it comes under the problem solving. Whereas, so if you want to justify your answer, you want to comment on that, you have to analyze that, it comes under the representation and which of course reasoning and proof. So, if he is able to express in terms of a mathematical sentences, mathematical symbols, it comes under the communication. When it is connected with the other branches of mathematics or other branches of science, connections of course. And the last one, so he is representing the data in the form of graph or construction or in the form of Venn diagram, comes under the representation visual. I will give a simple example to that. So, each concept can be expressed in 5 academic standards. For example, I am taking root 2. Root 2 is an irrational number, you know that. So, first question if you want to ask that and based on that area, so on based on problem solving, for example, root 2 equal to 1.414, then find the value of 5 root 2. So, simply you will substitute that root 2 value in it, 5 into 1.414, you will say the answer. Here the procedure will be given that. So, it comes under the problem solving. If you want to take a representation, of course, representation visualization, I will come so one by one. Second one, reasoning and proof. Okay. Is root 2 an irrational number? Justify your answer. It comes under reason. So, how root 2 is an irrational number? Because he has to take an irrational number is a non-terminating, non-recurring fraction. He has to observe that, he has to say that root 2 cannot be expressed in the form of p by q. It is non-terminating and non-recurring. So, hence it is a irrational number, like he has to write the reason for those things. It comes under the reasoning and proof. And third one, the same area, if you want to ask that mathematical communication, clear. Okay. So, the square, the diagonal length of a square is root 2 times of its side, write it in a mathematical sentence. Okay. Then simply the children, of course, if the side is x of a square, then its diagonal is root 2 times of x. So, like that is a mathematical communication. And coming to the mathematical connections, means here you can ask that root 2 times of things with geometry area, means here the same question you can ask it, prove that the diagonal of a square is root 2 times of its side, clear. So, it comes under the connection, and of course, if you want to ask him to as a representation visualization, represent root 2 on number line or represent root 2 with the graphical representation, then it comes under the simply already in the textbook we instructed root 2 on number line, and of course, are spiral things also, all this comes. So, like one you can ask all 5 academic standards in a particular area also, that is a very very important. Okay. So, the last one, when to assess and what is the, already I explained it, when to assess and where to assess, this is a very very important. Okay. Now, already I said the formative assessment will be conducted in the month of July, formative 2 will be conducted in the month of September, formative 3 in the December, and formative 4 in the month of February. This is the most, once again formative 1 in the month of June, July, of course July, and that is I am giving the last one, and formative 2 August and September we can conduct up to September, formative 3 in the month of December, means from November and December, formative 4 will be January and February, and a baseline test will be conducted for June, summative 1 in the month of October, and summative 2 in the month of March only. Okay. So, this already I said the weightages, and this is very important, marks range very important, 91 to 100 is A plus grade, 71 to 90 is A grade, and 51 to 70 is B plus grade, and 41 to 50 is B grade, and 40 and C grade. This and recently it is changed to particular range, we will get A, B, C, D and E. E grade means a fail. So, if the children got less than 34 marks, then he was failed in the examination. So, clear, and if it gets more than 34 to 50, you will consider as D, okay, 50 to 60, and we will consider as a C, and 60 to 70 consider as B. Of course, more than 90 to 100 you will be considered as a A grade. Okay, that is a most, see already say most of the people are announcing that. So, they are, my child is getting all these marks here. This is a formative assessment record, and just now I have to explain, this is a progress report, and this one is a finally, already I said all these things. So, so this is a very very important, these academic standards weight is also important, already I said this academic standard. So, very important here the teacher role, you should develop the competency based test items, and he has to, the teacher has to develop the question paper, he himself only he has to prepare the question paper, that is very important. You should not based on the papers which are available in the market, clear, this is very important, and he has to diagnose the performance of the children, he should take the remedial teaching, and he has to maintain the portfolio management also, means how the children manage the things, and like he has to observe. Identify the areas where the student needs additional practice. This is a very important. Some children may not be good in basic operations like addition, subtractions, multiplication and division, and even they are in 10th standard. We can observe it by PISA test. Maybe all of you know that in the PISA test they said maximum nearly 40% of the children who completed their secondary education, they are not good at division. This is very important. The teacher has to observe all these things, he has to develop the basic information. Facilitate for peer and self assessment, this is the most important. He has to facilitate that between the coordination between the peer groups. Demonstrating the performance of the children in the SMC parents meeting also very important. He has to maintain the CCE registers for school and elementary education is very important. Based on CCE, the textbooks are not written. So, very important note, the first textbooks are written, then the CCE is introduced. So, there is no correlation between the textbooks and CCE. So, textbooks are written for as per APSF 2011, and CCE is based on Right to Education Act and Right to Information Act, and all this are considerable. So, there is no correlation, but the teacher has to incorporate all these things here. And the syllabus and appropriate material for undertaking co-curricular areas and their assessment here. So, co-curricular areas also should be assessed. Here the teacher, of course, the subject teachers will generally, for maths teacher, he has to take the responsibility for computer education, clear. So, he will explain all these things. So, anyway, so you learn on the total CCE implementation and roles of the responsibilities. So, I hope you will be perfect in all this CCE. This is the most important. Just now I said, so maybe within a couple of days or couple of months you will be a teacher in the Gurukulas. So, you have to maintain this CCE, don't by heart these concepts, understand the concepts, write examination well, at the same time implement what we discussed from yesterday and today. You have to implement properly for the welfare of Telangana state.